Crypto. Well, we're kicking off this week with a red week. Well, after a very boring, dull weekend of sideways price action at a critical spot for Bitcoin, the market is still scared this week. Fear and Greed Index for the day is coming in at 48. There is a host of news to come out this week which will affect markets. Chairman Powell testifies Monday and Tuesday. Unemployment claims come out Thursday. Unemployment rate comes out Friday. And the market just does not know how to react right now. Our top gainers this past week have been TrueFire, Rally, Liquidity, Caspa, MexC Global, Metars Genesis, Ren, Maker, Synthetics Network, and DAO Maker. Top losers for the past 7 days have been Access Protocol, Cocos, BCX, Clayton, Stargate Finance, Audius, LivePeer, Rocket Pool, Render, Bone, Shiba Swap, and Hook Protocol. Today we are starting off with the dollar. It was in a rising wedge pattern, broke to the downside, but it has just been fighting with this support right here, this orange line that I've had. We've struggled with that for months and months now. The bad thing is that we are in the middle of an Ichimoku cloud, which likes to spit us out on the other side. Would remind you that even though this is a bearish pattern, we have a breakout of a very bullish pattern. We're just getting a little bit of a pullback, probably to the breakout point before we start going up. Now, as we come down, that could be helpful for crypto. It's definitely helpful for Wall Street. However, what I've noticed lately is that Bitcoin is not so much correlated to Wall Street in the last few weeks as it is to the dollar. And generally what I find is that when Bitcoin follows the dollar, there is usually a big dump coming shortly. I find it very interesting that when I look at the USTD Tether market cap, that it is going up very well, very strong. Lots of money coming into Tether right now. And also in the past few weeks, we've seen a lot of things selling out into Tether. This is the Tether dominance chart. When more money starts going into Tether, this chart shows it, and it's retesting this double bottom area, getting ready to clear that. And that is spelling some more upside for Tether dominance, meaning people are going to be selling out of Bitcoin and altcoins and going into Tether for safety. Next area we're looking at is Bitcoin dominance, which has also broken to the downside of a bearish pattern, but is retesting the breakout of also a bearish pattern. Taking this into consideration, it looks like it wants to go up. Indicators are showing that it's got a good chance to at least come back up to this top of this trend line. Now, as it does, altcoins are going to be affected. One of the things I am looking for is this big Ichimoku cloud. Now, we're in a kind of interesting situation with Bitcoin dominance. It's in a very bullish position right here if it breaks out of this white trend line. We're looking at going up and altcoins will hurt, and Bitcoin will be still in the show. However, if we lose this yellow trend line right here, we'll be coming down and then altcoins will take off. And that would really be ideal what we want to see. So all eyes on Bitcoin dominance as you trade over the next few weeks. And this leads us to total 2, which is the total market cap of altcoins excluding BTC. It is also in a very tricky situation. Now, this is a rising megaphone pattern. I have a measured move that would take out almost about $80 million out of this market, out of altcoins. It'd be very sad for that to happen. There is a chance that we could find support here at this $556 billion area and continue to the upside to 598. That would be fantabulous. However, statistics say that this pattern will break to the downside. You got the big green Ichimoku cloud just begging for it to come into it. And it looks like we would retest this area about 527, possibly 517, most likely coming down to the areas that we just mentioned and down to our measured move. This would be sad for altcoins. Normally, we would look to the ES1 to get an idea about what crypto's going to do. But however, we have detached from the ES1 right now. It's going up. Bitcoin is going sideways and down. We have uncorrelated with the stock market right now, and we're more correlated with the dollar. And as I mentioned earlier, that usually does not play out very well. Now, kicking things off with Bitcoin, we can see that on Market Cipher, we've got a red dot that just printed. VWAP is coming to the downside. Money flow is starting to turn down. Stochastics are coming down. Momentum waves coming down. For the weekly, things are looking bearish for Bitcoin. Now, on the daily, it looks like we might have some hope, but we've got this big Ichimoku cloud that's just begging for us to come into it. Yet, on the weekly, we've got this big red Ichimoku cloud flirting and begging us to go into it. So what does this mean? Most likely sideways and down. So if you see here, I've got this dotted line. Now, this will be more apparent on the smaller time frames, but that's an area of support that we're looking at holding, and it's also at this 9 weekly EMA, which we're technically losing. Next area of support would be 21,494 is where I'm looking at possibly catching a first bounce, but getting rejected up here at the top, we should be coming back to the bottom of this channel, and that could be at 20,250 on down as low as 19,300. We can see this a little bit better on the daily, as the daily is showing signs that we kind of want to find a little support here and come back up and possibly retest this area. Now that would be about 23,100, possibly as high as 23,500. However, this big Ichimoku cloud wants to suck us back into it and lead us down to 21.4 and down to 20,339. Now that would be the bottom of this channel, but as I said, we could also break down to these lower areas, 19,385. Not off the table at all. Now if we look at this on the 4-hour, we can see we lost the 200 moving average right up here, took our big drop, and we've just been trading sideways all weekend. Now this is actually making what we call a bear flag. Now there's a measure move from that. If we break to the downside, that would bring us down to about this $20,900 area. We would also flirt with finding some support here at 21.7. So that would be your first area to possibly find some resistance and maybe a move to the upside back up to about 22,204. But then I am looking to this area, 20,900. Very possible to be coming over this next week and a half. Ethereum is pretty much showing the same situation. Now, when we take a look at Ethereum on the weekly, we see we also broke to the downside of a rising channel, very bearish. Now, measure move would actually bring us down here to about $13,029. And this whole green box I've got here between $1,269 on up to about $1,391, that is what I consider a bargain area to get in on Ethereum at the moment. And that would give us a chance to retest our breakout of this Adam and Eve double bottom. A little easier to see on the daily if I come to the daily. And you can see the rising channel we broke to the downside of. Big green cloud sucking us into it. Now we could get a bounce up. I want to come to the 4-hour just to kind of show those details. And that would be kind of like an inverted Bart Simpson type pattern. Could bring us up to about 1640, 1650, possibly coming up to retest this 200 EMA at 1619 before we start coming back to retest our current area at 1563 and drop down to 1484. BNB is also looking bearish for the weekly. We broke out of a rising channel like we had on the ETH and Bitcoin, and now we're making our way to the bottom of the channel. First stop I would be looking for is about $264, possibly even down to $254. Now there's a chance that we could find support here and work our way back up to the top of the channel, and that would be around 339, maybe 362. All depends on this area right here. If we break to the downside, it's going to get ugly kind of quick. XRP has just been having a hard time to go. Now we found support along this trend line, broke to the upside, reached about 43 cents. Now you see we're in a rising channel like we are on a lot of patterns right now, breaking to the downside. Now, in my personal opinion, I think 35 to 36 cents is probably a good area that we may find support there, but usually what you find is that we'll break down to this area, probably about 34.5 cents, and look for support there. There's also a very good chance, like we did over here, wick down to this bottom area of support of about 29.30 cents. This little box I have here from about 30 to 32.5 cents, in my opinion, that is a very good area to maybe pick up some XRP for a long-term hold. However, I also want to bring your attention to this area at 28.2 cents. Should things go south for Bitcoin, I have my eyes on that area right there. Cardano just cannot catch a break. Same situation, rising channel broke to the downside. Targets that I have for that is 33 cents. Main target that I have is 30.75 cents, Fibonacci area, and also measured move for this pattern. A few areas below that you might want to look at, 29.5 cents, possibly down as low as 27.7, depending on how Bitcoin and the overall crypto market does. Saddest thing I've got to say about Cardano is that it was in this falling channel here and we broke back into it. Now that could actually spill us down to these low areas very quickly, so very possible to see 24-25 cents out of Cardano over the next month or so. Now Matic is also feeling some pain. If you remember, we were in this rising channel and we broke to the upside, and that's when I said if we find support here we could really go up and make some damage. But if we lose that support and break back into the pattern, it's going to be sad. Well, sadly, that's the direction we've taken. Broke back into that pattern, came to the bottom of that pattern, lost the support there. Now we're coming down. Retested our 618 area, $1.08. Found some support there and bounced up to do a retest, but now we've lost that area of $1.17, pushing us further down. Now, indicators on the daily are suggesting that we might find some support here at this line. It has found support on this line before, and that may give us a little bit more of an upreach back up to 118 in that area. However, since we lost the 50-day moving average and our 9 moving average is trying to cross over that is bearish. That's going to bring us down to about $1.02, possibly down to 96 cents, retesting this 200 EMA at 94. Target I'm really looking for is the bottom of this trend line, about 91 cents, and there are a couple of measure moves that we could wick down to, very possibly down as far as 81 cents or 85 cents. Great places to pick up Matic, in my opinion. However, if you're trying to long it around here, chances are that we will see the bottom part of this pattern. However, if we do catch a break here and break up above $1.23, we may be looking at some more upside, but the Ichimoku cloud is telling me it wants to go down. Now, we were following Doge in this kind of parabolic shape, this rounding bottom type shape. We was holding it so very well for so long, but at last on the 24th of February, it broke through that, and that move is over. It is sideways and down for the most part over this next month for Dogecoin. Biggest areas I would be looking for to catch Dogecoin or short to, or target areas where it could possibly find a bounce would be just a little under 7 cents right here, and that would be retesting the breakout area that we had back here. That would be a great place to find support, maybe make a double bottom. However, I do have a measured move from the right-hand channel we broke to the downside of, which would bring us down to about 6.5 cents. If we lose that, then we could be coming all the way down to about 5.8 cents to retest and officially make a much larger double bottom situation here before we head up to the upside. Most likely, that's what we're looking at. Solana also having a terrible time getting above the 618 Fibonacci area. We're in a falling wedge pattern, which is normally very bullish. However, we lost support there, not once, but twice, fell back into the pattern. Now, usually this will either do one of the things. We'll either get a partial decline, which will come about to about halfway mark, find support there, and then work on our breakout. Most likely, that is what will happen. The worst case scenario is that we come all the way back down here to about 0 to the bottom of this pattern, which would nail Solana to the ground if that happened. Seriously, bringing it down to about 0 before catching a break to the upside. Indicators are very bearish for the week. Most likely situation that I see that's happening is that we will come down to this area about $17.35, just right under $18, as the first possible area that we might find support to give us enough juice to break to the upside of this pattern and maybe hit $26 again. The main area I'm really looking at is right here. This is a 618 level between 1448 and 1544. That's truly the area I'm looking for us to come down to over this next few weeks. However, there is a measured move from this pattern. The halfway mark for that would be accurate about 1448, but if we do get the full run of this measured move, normally doesn't happen for this pattern, but it could come down to as far as $11.29. So let's mark that target and keep that one on the radar as well. DOT has also had a hard way to go. We can probably see this one better if we come to the daily. Just looking at the indicators on the weekly, still a little bit bearish. However, the daily ones are starting to look a little bit better, like there might be a little turnaround. We found support here about 581. Chances are we will come back up to this area, probably about 610, retest that 200-day EMA. If we do break above it, we could come back up and retest this breakout area somewhere around 640, maybe as high as 650. But I would be looking for a bearish retest, and then that would bring us down to these lower areas, possibly down to 550, maybe down as low as 523. This would be the measure move for the breakout or the breakdown of this falling megaphone pattern. So we could do a bearish retest before we get here, or we could just come on straight down. It's hard to say what DOT's going to do. I do have one more target for this megaphone pattern that would bring us down to this area of about 467. So if we lose support here at 524, that would be the next target that I would be looking at to find support before we do find a bounce and move to the upside. Litecoin has been on this parabolic move for a while, just been on fire. It got rejected here at the 200 EMA at 101, lost this parabolic structure, is coming sideways into the downside. Targets I would be looking for Litecoin would be about $65 to $70. Most likely we will come back down and retest this 50 weekly moving average. And also this area, 618 Fibonacci area, which would be about 77, somewhere between $76 and $78. Possibly get a bounce here and continue up or sideways for a while, or it could be down here, up and sideways for a while. Overall, the markets are very scared. It all depends on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is going to do, and also that of the dollar. If you found this information helpful, hit that like button. Maybe subscribe to the channel, comment below. Maybe check out our free Telegram group. It's pretty cool. All the cool kids are hanging out there. Until next time, my name is Lane, and this has been your weekly Crypto Insight.
Gary was a man who thought he could do crypto sharing at the SEC. Gary told us all we thought he was a hero teaching blockchain at MIT. Well, get back, long get back and leave crypto alone. Get back, long get back and leave crypto alone. Get back, Gary. You ain't nothing but a Goldman Sachs.